mwaka 2002. Mwingine alikuwa Katana Ngala, huyu kutoka maeneo ya Pwani. Alafu mwingine kati ya wale naibu wenyekiti wa chama cha KANU alikuwa Uhuru Kenyatta, ambaye ndiye alikuwa chaguo la rais mstaafu Daniel Toroitich arap Moi katika uchaguzi wa mwaka 2002. Na ndio sababu hata rais Uhuru Kenyatta alipotoa salamu za rambirambi kwa familia ya mwenda zake Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, alisema kwamba amempoteza mtu ambaye alimkuza kisiasa, kwa maana kwamba Uhuru alikuwa amekaa siasani kama mwaka mmoja na alionekana kama kuwa mtu mchanga kwa umbo na umri wakati wa ule mchujo wa KANU, na ndio sababu baadhi ya wanasiasa walihama KANU wakaenda Rainbow. Kwa hivyo ni wanavyosema karibu kila mtu alikuwa KANU. Kwa hivyo inawezekana kila mtu anapokuja kumuona chimbuko lake ni KANU.
Na sasa hivi mwili wake unaondoka katika ikulu ya Nairobi, na sasa hivi na kurejesha kwake Brenda tuarifu na kinachoendelea upande huo.
Asante sana Zubeda Kananu na Paul Nabiso, mkuu wa kitengo cha Kiswahili, and we head straight to State House where the body of President Mzee Daniel Toroitich arap Moi is leaving. It's supposed to leave State House any moment from now. What you're seeing on your screen are the live pictures, live images of State House Nairobi. The men in uniform have already taken their position to pay their last respect to Mzee Moi as his body leaves State House. And of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta will also be following that body very closely as it makes its way to the Nyayo National Stadium, where President Uhuru Kenyatta will be leading the nation, you know, when it comes to the interdenominational church service, memorial service that is happening at the Nyayo National Stadium. Let's listen in live. There you have it, live images of State House Nairobi, where the body of Mzee Moi was taken, you know, from the Leaf-in-Draw home just to be taken to the State House. That is the same thing that happened during, you know, the late Mzee President Jomo Kenyatta when he died. And so that is the reason again as to why Mzee Moi's body was taken to State House Nairobi. And any time from now, the body will be leaving the State House to head straight, to be taken straight to the Nyayo National Stadium, where an interdenominational service, memorial service, is taking place, and President Uhuru Kenyatta will be leading the nation in the memorial service. So as the body leaves State House Nairobi, it will be followed very closely with the entourage of President Kenyatta, and that is the reason as to why we're giving you those live images of State House Nairobi. Only the best way that we can here on KTN News, as we also pay our last respect to Mzee Moi, a man who has been described as a man who is full of unity, a man who worked hard in ensuring that the country is united. There you have it, you know, the motorcade, and of the motorcade that is leading the procession from State House to the Nyayo National Stadium, where Kenyans are keenly and eagerly waiting, you know, to bid farewell to Mzee Moi. And, you know, Kenyans got the opportunity of viewing the body of Mzee Moi that was lying in state for 3 days at Parliament buildings. It started on Saturday, on Sunday, and it ended yesterday. The viewing of the body initially was supposed to end at 5 p.m., but due to the large numbers of Kenyans who were making their way to Parliament yesterday, that time was extended until 6 p.m., where all Kenyans, you know, Kenyans who made their way to Parliament buildings got the opportunity of bidding farewell to Mzee Moi. We saw Kenyans from different walks of life, the young, the old, persons with disability also just making their way right there to actually pay their last respect to Mzee Moi. And of importance, what caught the attention of Kenyans was Paul Kiprono, who's blind, but he said that he needed to pay his last respect to Mzee Moi. He said that his was an urge, it was not an urge to satisfy his eyes, but more to do with demonstrating his love for the former president and thanking him for proving that those living with disability also matter. So that is why we're telling you that Kenyans loved President Mzee Moi. Kenyans from different walks of life paid their tribute, eulogizing President Moi as a man who's out there to unite the country, as a man who's a timekeeper, a man who loved everyone, and a man who ensured that he had, the opportunity, took the opportunity to actually, ask for forgiveness. And at that time, you remember there's a time he said that kama nilikukosea, nisamehe, kama umenikosea, nimekusamehe. So he's a man of unity, a man who loved everyone, a man who loved forgiveness. And that is why leaders from different political, parties are being asked to unite Kenyans and also to unite at this trying moment. But also at the Nyayo National Stadium, as early as 6 a.m., the stadium was almost full. This is a stadium that can accommodate 30,000 people and not like Kasarani Stadium that can accommodate 60,000 people. So as early as 6 a.m., Kenyans had already made their way to the Nyayo National Stadium, different dignitaries right there. But so far, we can confirm that the family of Mzee Moi have already actually they're already at the Nyayo National Stadium, just waiting for the arrival of the body of Mzee Moi that's currently at State House, Nairobi, and that body anytime from now is expected to be transported to the Nyayo Stadium, and President Uhuru Kenyatta will be following up very closely. His entourage will be behind that of Mzee Moi. Mzee Moi to President Uhuru Kenyatta has been like a father figure to him because he is the man that introduced President Uhuru Kenyatta to politics. Remember, in 2002, he had actually supported President Kenyatta's presidential candidature for the presidential seat rather in 2002, but President Kenyatta didn't clinch that seat. And in 2013, President Kenyatta became the third president of the Republic of Kenya. And that is why we saw that on several occasions, President Uhuru Kenyatta will visit, President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi at his home in Kabarak, just to, get words of wisdom, political words of wisdom, spiritual words of wisdom from the late Mzee Moi. But at the Nyayo National Stadium, we'll be giving you those pictures later on. You can see the stadium is already in full capacity. And we'd just like to remind you that roads leading to the Nyayo National Stadium have been closed. So people who want to make their way to the stadium have to use alternative routes. And also to remind you also that tomorrow, roads that will be leading to Nakuru County, just to, view the body of the president, say farewell to President House, will be buried tomorrow. All roads leading to Nakuru County, a section of the road will be closed. So Kenyans who are traveling to other parts of the country have been given alternative routes to follow. But just to remind you, 10 heads of state will be attending this interdenominational service that is happening at the Nyayo National Stadium. So far, we know that Uganda's Yoweri Museveni and Salva Kiir of South Sudan have also confirmed the attendance of today's service. There you have it, the body of President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi leaving, State House, Nairobi. But so far you can see the motorcade, police officers in the motorcade just, paving way, preparing the way for the body of Mzee Moi to leave. And of course, following closely, is also President Uhuru Kenyatta right there, just to head to the stadium to give, their last respect to President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, who died last week on Tuesday here in Nairobi at the Nairobi Hospital. Let's just listen live to the pictures or at the State House, Nairobi.
Bado naweza toka.
Wote Kenya twakumbuka vile wananchi wetu tuling'oa mkoloni na tukawa nchi huru. Twakumbuka vile wananchi wetu tuling'oa mkoloni na tukawa nchi huru. Kenya yetu jamhuri, nchi yenye kupendeza, ni wajibu wetu sote kuilinda Kenya yetu. Nchini Kenya wazalendo wafurahi, Kenya inajitawala. Tunaendelea mbele, pembe zote nchini Kenya wazalendo wafurahi, Kenya inajitawala. Sote Kenya twakumbuka vile wananchi wetu tuling'oa mkoloni na tukawa nchi huru. Kenya yetu jamhuri, nchi yenye kupendeza, ni wajibu wetu sote kuilinda Kenya yetu.